So, another episode of Movies and Minutes. My guest for this episode is my friend Melissa. How are you doing tonight, Melissa?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good tonight.
So, I know we're going to be talking about movies, but I'm going to put you on the spot for just a second here. You're more excited for a TV show tonight than a movie, aren't you?
Oh, definitely, definitely. We are Star Wars nerds in my household, and Ahsoka legitimately premieres 1 hour from us starting this. So I have
No,
to be
no worries.
downstairs and ready to go.
I think you'll have time to spare, and by no means will I try to convince you to go see any movies tonight. At least not like go to see them physically tonight, but maybe convince you to see something in the near future. But so before we get started, something I usually ask my guests before we get going on this episode's trailers are, what type of movies do you like? I mean, what are the things that like you get excited to see?
I am definitely a genre movie nerd. So I have
Mm,
been into sci-fi forever. My entire life is varying kinds of science fiction, and ever
love
since
that.
the comics have sort of jumped in, we have
Hmm.
been the biggest Marvel nerds in my household. So any
Ooh.
Marvel movie, any Star Wars movie, anything in sort of that range gets watched instantly the day it comes out, usually in
Ooh.
IMAX. So
That
those are
is
our
that
those
is
are our big
awesome.
ones.
I'm super excited to hear that. I am always trying to get more people to go see stuff, so I'm happy that you're already like on the front line here. Like when it's something that you love, you're running right to the theater to see it. I usually wait till the end, but I almost kind of want to know now. Is there anything that you are like in your sights that are, that you're excited to go see sometime in the near future?
I think the next big one on our calendar is the Marvels.
Nice.
So
I'm very
because
excited for that
that's
too.
yeah, it's the big one in that genre that's coming out. And we did recently go see both the Ninja Turtles movie and Barbie. So I've gotten those both off
Mm,
my docket.
fair enough. Crossing my fingers for the Marvels only because I'm worried like with the strike going on right now as we get closer to holiday season about stuff getting delayed. And that movie's already seen delays and I really don't want it to happen again, but I'm right here with you. I'm hoping that it comes right out on its I think November 10th is its release date, but all right, cool. The Marvels. All right, we'll have to compare notes on that one because I'll be right there seeing it too. Um so as far as today goes, I sent you three trailers. What was the first one I sent you?
Let's see, I believe Strays was the
Strays.
first one that you sent me.
All right. So what did that one do for you? What did you think that one was about once you sat and you watched that one?
So Stray seems like it's one of your sort of stock standard Will Ferrell let's be funny movies. And I'm not gonna
I,
lie, I have liked stock standard Will Ferrell let's be funny movies um
yeah,
for a long time back since like
hmm
old school and stuff. So
like
I'm
old school specifically, or like the time period.
specifically.
Yeah. All right.
So
Yeah. I mean, that's you got that right on the head. It is very like very typical Will Ferrell like funny fare. Like I'd almost describe it as like a popcorn flick. Like I don't think anybody's going to see that movie expecting it to be like a an award winner, but that doesn't mean it's not a fun time. Did you get a
no, for
sense for what you
sure.
thought
And
the plot was?
and it's puppies, which I already like small dogs. So although so
Mhm.
far no pugs, which is an inherent
Mm,
problem because every movie is improved by a pug. Um,
I I don't think there's any pugs that play a major role, but I think if I remember right, you do see pugs at some point in the movie. There's a dog park, and I do recall. I feel like I saw pugs at least once.
I'll have to
So they
maybe go back and double check. I always watch for a pug.
they might have snipped them out of the trailer, but they're definitely in the movie, if only for like a moment. Um, did you get like any like did you draw any like thoughts on what you thought the dogs were supposed to be doing in the movie other than being like hilarious and lewd?
So as far as I can tell, the plot of this one is going to be that our main Will Ferrell dog, who as any good dog does, thinks that his owner loves him very much, but in fact,
Mhm.
his owner is going to abandon him and essentially leave him somewhere where he can't find his way home. He finds some
Mhm.
other dogs who let him know that no, he's been left and he's now a stray. And his response to this is, well, I need to go back and find my owner so I can take my revenge by biting off his dick.
100%. They were not remotely subtle at all about what they wanted the plot to be about.
Nope,
And
it's going to be great fun.
they picked a really good like owner that you kind of wanna love to hate. I believe it was it Will, I think it was Will Forte plays his owner. I have to double check that, but
Yeah.
he just very much gives you that like, yeah, I wouldn't mind if your dick got bit off in this particular scenario, sir.
Oh yeah, no, and he's great at playing that like kind of lovable but also very hateable character. We watched
Mhm.
all of the Last Man
Last Man on
on
Earth.
Earth. He was just
I
so funny
I
in
got
that.
through one season of that and I really tried, but like after episode one, when there like already was other people, I'm like, really? Like this, so this is gonna be an ironic title. I got it. I see where we're going here. But it was funny. It was funny. Yeah, and it's weird. The movie almost kind of gave me like R-rated Homeward Bound vibes because like he has to try to find his way back because he gets him and his owner Doug play a game all the time called what's he called?
Fetch and
Fetch and
fuck.
fuck. Yeah, because he'll drop him off somewhere and he finds his way home, and then Doug says fuck, and he knows he won the game, except for when he gets dropped 3 hours away and he can't find his way home. Without he remembers a couple of landmarks and he makes some friends along the way, and it's very much like a hey, when we get home, something's gonna happen. Except for instead of reuniting with their owners like in Homeward Bound in a fun way, it's like a revenge sort of way. And there's not a whole lot of crazy plot here. I mean, like it's the movie's really more about the journey. Like for sure, I can say that. Like you're there for the laughs along the way. Once they get there, it's not a huge stretch of the imagination for what's going to happen. It's an R-rated movie with a bunch of big celebrities voicing dogs. The dog that's Will Ferrell adjacent is Jamie Foxx, who he just I don't remember the last thing I saw him in, but really great.
Oh,
Um,
Jamie Foxx nails everything he does all the time. Been in love with him since Collateral. So
ooh, yeah, wow. I have not heard that one in a while. That's a good one. So I mean, this is the part where I'm gonna ask you, is this something where you think you would go see it or just watch it all?
I would definitely be interested in watching this movie. I probably wouldn't deal with the movie theater experience for it because I kind of tend to save that for something I think is more important, especially the movie theater big bucks. The only
Mm-hmm.
real issue I have with this movie is that I have small dogs, and if I put on a movie that is all dogs, my
Mm-hmm.
pug is just going to be barking at it for an hour and a half. So I may need to
Mm-hmm.
like watch it at a friend's place. Like we may need to have a like movie night somewhere else.
That's fair. And you know what? And I can agree with this one 100%. This one didn't really have any inherent I have to see it in the theater on the big screen vibes. Nothing about it like is lost, I imagine, on the small screen.
No.
So, if you get around to watching it, you know, I don't think you'll miss anything seeing it at home or at a friend's. Probably not at home. Definitely at a friend's.
I
But
think we did manage to watch Clifford without my dogs going too crazy, so it is possible.
I mean, he definitely like doesn't look like your average dog, so maybe they like just he didn't register on their radar.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. So that was Strays. What was our number two movie?
The number two movie
Mm,
was the Blue Beetle.
Blue Beetle. So Blue Beetle. Before you tell me what you think about it, when we started, you mentioned that you're like a big fan of like the genre stuff, and you mentioned Marvel specifically. How do you normally feel about DC?
So with DC movies,
Hmm.
I have probably tended more on the I don't love them as much side versus the other ones. I like Wonder Woman a lot. The Wonder Woman movies have been very good, but I have
Mhm.
not really watched either the Justice League stuff or the Batman stuff first run. It hasn't been my favorite. I don't even remember if I saw Aquaman, but definitely not as good as Marvel.
Not as engaging, doesn't like really like draw you in as much. That's fair.
Yeah.
So Blue Beetle. What did this trailer do for you? What did you think about this movie? Just so I mean, I get it. You're a Marvel fan, and DC definitely doesn't like live up to the expectations. Yeah, we totally can. It's okay. I can cut out this middle part. All
Okay.
right.
My
Yeah.
computer just yelled at me and I'm like, oh, it's gonna like die. That's bad.
All right. So, I know you were saying that like DC doesn't do it as much for you, but what did the trailer for Blue Beetle do for you?
So I would say that because compared to some of the other DC movies, I actually
Hmm.
find Blue Beetle more interesting. So,
Hmm.
first of all, I have been a big Cobra Kai fan
Hmm.
since the beginning. And
Hmm.
what's his name? Zolo
Solo. Yeah.
there is
Hmm.
really like I like him a lot in Cobra Kai, and he looks like he's going to be a lot of fun in this role. Also,
Hmm.
fun is the other thing about this. Like DC
Hmm.
has this inherent, oh, we want to be so dark and serious, which is I think half my problem. And
Hmm.
so the fact that this one looks like it's aiming to be a little more fun,
Hmm.
they're willing to make a few jokes, have a
Hmm.
lighthearted time with it, give grandma one heck of a fancy gun at the end of that trailer. I'm like I would go just to see that, I think.
I I think part of why this one looked a little bit different to me before I sat down and watched it, and then even now after having seen it, is it kind of feels like a Marvel movie in that like the yeah, I mean you kind of captured it right there. Like Marvel Marvel sometimes gets criticized for sort of being the opposite. They lean into the jokes too much. But you know what? I go to the movies to have a good time. And I'm okay having a laugh in my movies, even if it's like maybe sometimes a serious movie that you don't expect to laugh, guess what? That's totally fine. And Blue Beetle does do that. I mean, did the trailer kind of give you any thoughts on what you thought the plot was about, despite the fact that it, feels fun?
It's definitely your kind of classic superhero origin movie. So he is going
Hmm.
to encounter the Blue Beetle for the first time. He is
Hmm.
going to, it apparently chooses him. I like that.
Hmm.
That's neat. And then he'll have to sort of discover how the powers work and how to control them and how to make
Hmm.
use of it. And then it appears
Hmm.
that he also is going to have what I would call your classic starting hero villain, which is a nastier version of what he is. It actually makes me
Yeah.
think of the first Ant-Man movie because you start with
Hmm.
Ant-Man and then of course his villain is another bug guy. And
A
so
yellow
it kind of,
jacket, totally.
yeah, it looks kind of like the same idea. This one is the villain is another bigger, scarier bug guy and
Mhm.
he'll have to defeat him. So that appears to be the basics.
You got it. You're good at this game. I mean it. I don't wanna give it too much credit, but it definitely it leans into that. It almost felt like Iron Man. I mean, especially with the whole suits thing, like the first Iron Man movie.
Oh yeah, that is another one that has
Yeah.
that sort of classic back and forth super
Hmm.
villain superhero game.
Yeah, I think the only difference about this movie, and I mean, if you do end up watching it, you let me know what you think. I think the only thing that this one kind of had some trouble trying to stick the landing with a little bit is, having the villain that like matches you is one thing, but villain motivation is a big deal too, especially in these movies. And it's really hard to tell what the motivation behind these villains are, like especially when they like break down, like they tell you why they tell you they want the Scarab Blue Beetle thing that makes him Blue Beetle, but they don't really give you a good sense of why they want it. So, I'm not sure if it's something that they would maybe explore in the future. But also, I don't know if did you see that sort of the maybe the boss of the villain in the movie was Susan Sarandon?
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, she's definitely like. they're kind of like being like the matriarch telling everybody what to do, what they need to do, and but she's the one kind of like with the driving force like for making the things happen, and that's it's a nice role for her. Um, I think of the three movies, because we haven't talked about the third one yet today. Of the three movies, that I showed you for today, I think that this is the one that would most require a theater viewing. Do you think that this is something that you would go see, or would you still probably wait on this one?
I've been running 50-50 on this one because we've seen a couple of the trailers for it in front of other things that we've seen, and I certainly have kept an eye on it. And so I
Mhm.
wouldn't mind a movie viewing of it,
Mhm.
but I'm not gonna plan around it. So some of the other
Right.
stuff I actually like, have to work around, and I make sure they're in my schedule and things like that. So like maybe
Yeah.
this weekend or next, especially with Labor Day coming up, we find
Mhm.
ourselves in a situation where it's like, sure, let's go see a movie. I'd go see that. But if I don't
Okay.
catch it in theaters, I'll
Yeah.
almost definitely watch it as soon as it comes out on whichever, I have all the streaming
Mhm.
services. So whatever it comes out on.
This one would probably be a max. I think I would give it three months tops before you see it on Max from release. Most of the DC ones like don't wait a super long time before they hit. But yeah, I mean that's totally fair. If you do end up seeing it though in the theater, let me know what you think of it. Like if it felt like it needed that theater viewing versus watching at home. Um, the last movie to talk about before I send you off to go hang out with Ahsoka, um, was I believe it's called Back on the Strip.
Back on the Strip. That is the one.
Mm.
I had not
Mhm.
seen anything about or heard about this one before you sent it to me, which in my household, we're
Mhm.
pretty heavy movie nerds. So I'm
Mhm.
always a little surprised.
Oh, I love that then. All right, so what'd you think about this one?
Actually, it looked like a lot of fun. So
Hmm.
the idea of it, as far as I can tell, is the kid role. He wants to essentially be a magician, but he's
Hmm.
not quite finding his niche. Mom sends him to Vegas, and I didn't
Hmm.
really catch how he ends up at a strip joint, but
Hmm.
apparently he ends up at a strip joint, and they suddenly find it was a group of guys who used to do stripping back in the day, and they try to get them back together. So you get the like, oh, back in the day this guy was real skinny and now he's real fat, and a bunch of other kind of
Hmm.
funny things as they try to pull them together. It
Hmm.
has a lot of great people in it. like
Hmm.
like immediately, like Tiffany Haddish, I love her in everything
Hmm.
she does. So like she immediately jumped at me like, oh, you're in this. Okay.
She's kind of all over the place this summer. I actually saw a movie last night, and it was the third Tiffany Haddish movie that I've seen her in a month, and I'm just like, girl, you are everywhere. Because she was in Haunted Mansion, she's in this, and then I saw there was a movie I saw last night. There was a landscape with Invisible Hand that she's the mom in too, which will be on my next episode. But yeah, she's just like on fire right now.
Yeah,
You
I
know
think
who
we
else?
saw her in that murder mystery TV show that's
Oh,
also coming
oh
back.
yeah.
So I'm excited about that too.
Mm. Um, you know who else was in this though and made his first full theatrical debut in almost 20 years? Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, I saw, and he gets to play
Hmm.
funny, which Wesley
He
Snipes,
does.
like he's known for
Hmm.
being the drama guy, but
Hmm.
I actually like it when he plays funny. He's a lot of fun. The other
He
person
so oh yeah, go ahead.
the other person I noticed in this one is JB Smoove, because we
Yeah,
are
he's great.
such
He's great.
big Curb Your Enthusiasm fans.
Oh my God, good.
I love him every time he walks out anywhere. It's like, oh my God, you're the funniest guy alive.
He's a real scene stealer, and that's like when he's on screen, he's always kind of drawn the screen to him. So, which is tough when you're trying to be Wesley Snipes making a debut again, and like JB Smoove is right next to you. Um, yeah, I mean you nailed this one pretty much on the head. Another comparison I got from a lot of people was like this was like the black version of Magic Mike kind of because they're all like blackmail strippers, and I kind of hadn't thought about that until I like had finished watching it. I'm like, oh yeah, maybe a little bit, but yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe, but they've got so much more of the. I got the sense that the vibe is much more going to be the like old guys compared to their young selves
this is true. So like
kind of thing.
in, in the five-man group, Wesley Snipes kind of has the kid magician sort of replace him because he's like got like a bum leg, so
Mm.
he can't be the guy swinging his thing around like he wants to be, and so he puts the kid in the role because the kid needs money because he wants to make his magician dream come true, but he can't quite get there. He gets to them because when his mom sends him to Vegas, she sends him to stay with an old friend when she used to live in Vegas, and I guess the woman uh runs a hotel that has the lounge in the back where these guys would strip, and like he kind of like stumbles upon it and just sort of goes from there. Did you get a sense for if you think there was anything kind of like subtle or hidden from the plot, or did you think it was pretty straightforward?
The trailer seems pretty straightforward. I
Hmm.
mean, movies like this usually have some little underlying drama things in them, but
Hmm.
I didn't catch anything specific.
There's not. It is really straightforward. Um,
Oh, good.
almost to the point that like once you start watching, you could probably, especially if you're a big movie nerd, you could probably like point the beat after the beat after the beat, and you'll probably know where the movie's going before it gets there. And on the one hand, it's fun to watch it get there, but on the other hand, sucks if it's too predictable. And I never want to tell people not to watch something, but I would say for this one, definitely don't spend money to watch it. If you're gonna watch it, like enjoy it on a streaming service that you're already paying for. It's probably good for, a laugh, but I it's definitely the weakest of the three things that we're talking about tonight, I would say.
Yeah, it
That
definitely
doesn't
didn't
mean
strike me as a theater movie. I like, especially the type of thing that it is. I almost certainly wouldn't spend my money and experience on it. But yeah, we do a like at home movie date night on a pretty regular basis, and so I
yeah.
would add it to that list for the future, like when it eventually swings around.
I don't even know which one this one would hit to because I didn't look like I don't remember off the top of my head, but I don't think it was being distributed by any major studios, so it be a real toss up. It might catch like a Netflix or something. So um okay, so that one would definitely be a for home view maybe. Well, hey, that's it. I mean, like, and you already told me which ones you're looking forward to, so thank you for being a guest. I hope we didn't take up too much of your night, and I hope you can get back to being excited for Ahsoka.
Yeah, no, that was great. I'm always,
Yeah,
interested in movie stuff, and we, like I said, my household keeps up on that kind of thing, so I like to
of
keep an eye
course.
on that.
And as I tell everybody, if you get around to seeing any of these movies, let me know what you think. I would, I'm always looking for opinions, whether they're agreeing, dissenting. I want to know what people think. So, whether you love it or hate it. All right.
Absolutely, I'm never afraid to fall on the whatever side of a movie.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for the time, and have a good rest of your night, Melissa.
All right, same to you.
Bye bye.